All right. So today I would like to welcome Miss Katie Spell as our um, speaker today. She's going to be speaking on AI and how we use AI in events. She has prepared a deck for you all today, so I'm so excited for her to dive in. Miss Katie, welcome to the stage and feel free to introduce yourself.
Great, thank you. Hi, I'm Katie Spell. I am also here in Austin, Texas today. I've been in event marketing for over 10 years, and so my love first and foremost is events, but now it's also AI. I've been using it for about over a year, helping me plan events and email campaigns, and so I just thought I'd share a lot of what I've learned so far, and even give some email prompts today, just because I've been on a few webinars, and that's kind of like the one thing that they don't really share, like the secret sauce of what they actually use. The next slide. So I mean, Lisa and I could have a whole like webinar series on this. We're just going to go through just like the beginning part of just event ideation and planning. And then, like I said, I'll talk about some of the email prompts and then kind of tell you more about the tools that I've been personally using myself, both paid and unpaid. So AI is a great tool. It can save you so much time when it comes to the ideation and planning process for events. Kicking off with research first, you know, if you use an AI tool like Chat GPT or even Meta AI, which currently is one of my favorites, you can really understand the event and the audience so much more when you kind of put in those prompts of with the link to the event itself and ask it to kind of analyze that data. Same thing for analyzing the agenda. If you put in the agenda link and you ask for analyzing it for the key trends, it'll give you that quick summary instead of you just kind of scanning through, a whole agenda all by yourself, trying to figure out what the event is about. I found that AI can be a really great tool to do research for events in specific industries. If I'm going to use the example of Inbound, HubSpot's upcoming event, I was looking to see exactly Inbound and then any other 2024 events that were happening in the space for marketers. And if you ask it that basic question, it's going to give you like an entire list of what you could look at that's very similar to Inbound. During the research phase, also ideating like session topic ideas as well is pretty big. And another one for, using the example of Inbound is if you want to find like private dining options, I put in, looking for private dining rooms in restaurants within a 5-mile radius of the Boston Convention Center. And then it gave me about 10 different options of different restaurants that I could look into further. Because I don't know, sometimes when I'm looking at just Google Maps around an area that maybe I haven't been to like 100 times before with events like Boston, myself personally, I'm not going to know all the restaurants that are out there that are going to have those private rooms. And instead of using Google and kind of clicking around and seeing if they actually have a private room or not, why not just use the AI for that? So looking at research or brainstorming, AI is a great tool for this as well for brainstorming topic and session ideas. I've recently used it for activations. Let's say that you were asked to think big for an event, and you want to know some of the new like booth trends, or maybe look for some storytelling, branding ideas. You can use AI for all of that as well. It's just really about what you are going to input. So it really needs still that human aspect of it and us all understanding what we need out of it for those prompts. Mockups, I think what's really cool if you're not going to pay for the newest version of Chat GPT is that Meta AI has an Imagine feature where I went in recently and I needed a booth concept. And so I typed in trade show booth, flat wall, 10 by 10 space. We're going to be at a gaming industry show. So I put in gaming industry, booth ideas. And instantly I was given back like 4 different photos of different booth ideas. Now, was that something that I could just take and say, go and run with it? No, they were concept ideas, but without me like being the one to have that graphic design experience personally, it was such a great thing for me to be able to kind of give my design team like a better picture of like what I was looking for. So AI can be really great with just mocking up booths and things like that for you. Content outlines, I mean, design ideas, and then polling questions. Let's say it's not a live event and you're doing a webinar. You can ask ChatGPT, here's my webinar brief of the topic and the things that we're discussing. Give me some really great poll questions that I can ask to engage the audience during a webinar. So just, I know I've kind of talked about a lot. Did anyone have any specific questions, or I'll kind of move on to design and content?
I think this is great, Katie. And all it takes is just adding a few prompts in, just like if you were to do a Google search and AI just does its thing. It's pretty fascinating. I remember the first time I used AI, I was doing something related to butterflies, and I went in and just typed in a few things around butterflies, and it just popped up, and I was like, wow, it was fascinating. So you could do this with anything. Like she was saying, you can do it with searching for venues. You can do it for, researching your competitors. You could do it for brainstorming your booth ideas and concepts and all sorts of stuff. The world is endless when it comes to AI. It's just getting those correct prompts put in to help guide it. And you can give it, a try as you go through to see what works best for what you're looking for.
Yeah, I completely agree. And before we kind of talk about design and content, I just want to point out that AI can automate a lot of tasks. It can help you do a lot of research, but that creative process still has to be human, right? It has to have your human touch. Really, I don't think AI is a replacement for anything that we personally do. If anything, I think it helps us save time to generate those ideas and then create after that. So with design, like I said, I created a whole booth with AI, or at least a think big decision with it, and then how could we bring it into real life? But the other really great stuff that I've been able to use it for is like swag, shirts. You can do all of those mock-ups. You don't have to be that graphic designer anymore. You can use Canva for this. Canva has a lot of great like AI and pro tools under its kit. Music also I've seen under Canva as well. If you need music for your videos, or let's say you're having like a looping presentation at your booth, that's fantastic. And then things like stickers or profile pictures. I put that one in there because I remembered an email campaign that I did a couple of companies ago where they didn't know us too well in the space. And so during one of our pre-event email campaigns, I put in everyone's picture from the sales team that was going to be there. So maybe they'd recognize them on the way there. But wouldn't it be kind of fun if you could use AI to kind of make them look like caricatures or an avatar themselves? Just really fun stuff that's not just like their basic LinkedIn picture. And then looking at content, I mean, that's kind of what I think everybody in events or in marketing in general is using it for. It can create social posts, blog articles. The best thing is if you prompt it with your own creative brief, your event brief, give it very specific. This is my ICP. This is what I'm looking to get out. It can really help you get the starting point again on social posts and blog articles. I have never gotten a full blog article even out of AI that I said, oh, this is perfect just the way it is. You're always going to have to fix it, put your own brand, tone of voice. But I think in the next slide where we talk about the prompts, I think I can kind of help you a little bit more understand how to work the prompts in your favor so you get a better output.
Yeah, let's pause right here. Does anybody have any questions? Has anybody used AI in a way that really works for them or kind of surprised their team? Like, wow, we didn't realize all these ideas would flow out and you implemented them? Any stories like that? You can just go off mute and hop on if you like. Yeah, Jessica's saying it feels like content marketers must become AI experts to keep up. I agree. And in the world that we live in right now with content, keeping it precise, clear, like exciting in as few words as possible is key, and AI can help you with that. You can say, this is all the stuff that just came out of my brain, and tell AI to have what type of tone you want, if you want it to be super short and sweet or you want it to be a little bit longer. It also helps with like, okay, maybe in a newsletter you have a certain space you have to fill and it's tiny, or maybe it's big. AI can just extend and shrink or grow your content so that works for that particular area or who you're communicating to. It's pretty cool. Marissa is saying, I like to say AI learn, explore because it consistently or constantly evolves. Yes, it does.
So much. Everyday new tools. I'll recommend a newsletter that I read every day. It's called Superhuman AI. They come out every single day. It's always fantastic content. And one of the sections towards the bottom is every day he'll have like 5 new tools. And I'm like, how does he find these all? And how is every single like 5 days a week, is there brand new tools for him to be, putting in this newsletter? All right, so maybe let's move on to the next slide and we'll kind of dive into something I'd really like to share as far as like an email starter prompt. And I just kind of want to walk through this because I don't think a lot of the AI webinars that I've been on recently really kind of dive into this, because I think we've talked about, it's great to hear how people are using AI, but I think for email specifically, that's where a lot of marketers kind of just maybe put in a prompt, think it's going to work, and they're not getting the best thing out of it. So just to walk through it, you want to kind of set it up as, you're the world's best email copywriter. I want you to take on the persona of the expertise of like the leading email copywriters of our time, like really, really hype up this AI, right? And your goal is to help me write emails that people are going to love to read and actually take action. And so, what are the attributes of having a high converting email that has high open rate and high click rate? So, it's going to think about it, it's going to give you like its ideas. And then after that, I want you to give it the prompt of, okay, so now I want you to make a list of the best email copywriters in the world to emulate and follow. It's going to give you a list of maybe like 6. What you need to do at that point is go maybe look them up on LinkedIn. Make sure that they're in the right space. I would be looking for someone in the B2B space, maybe SaaS specifically. And so you can go back and say, can you follow these if you didn't see the ones that you mostly like, or this one doesn't really work for what I'm looking for. So just kind of doing that double check on AI, because I don't think we touched on in the last slide, and I apologize for AI hallucinating, which it's interesting. It'll give you like what it thinks is facts, but you need to go back and check it. So continuing to prompt 3, now you're going to feed it the information. And this is where there are paid tools where you won't have to do this. But if you want to start setting up with something free like Meta or ChatGPT, this is the next crucial step. So you say, okay, now I'm going to feed you my information about my company and my voice. If you have a brand voice or tone guide, this is where you kind of cut and paste and put that in here. Or any kind of messaging that kind of sounds like you. Maybe it's your typical company profile that you would use for events. And then you ask it, tell me what would make a compelling communication style for my company. It's going to give you the results. Kind of fact check it again, make sure it's kind of understanding your voice and brand. And so here's the big one. So prompt 4 is, I'm going to give you example emails from my company. And sorry, there's a typo there. So analyze this next email below for my humor, writing style, language, tone of voice. And then I want you to create a prompt to start writing a new email in the same writing style. And here's the other key part. Let me know when you're ready for the text. This is super important because I bet you've all put in a prompt before saying, I'd like to create a presentation on XYZ to this target audience. And then you just send it, right, to prime it, but it gives you a whole list of this presentation. You're like, no, I didn't ask for any of that. I wasn't ready yet. So this is really key. Let me know when you're ready for the next text. So then it'll tell you, great, I have understood the assignment, send me that email. You paste in, let's say we're working on a nurture campaign. So you want to feed it other nurture campaigns that you've put out before. put in the first email. Then you say, okay, let me know when you're ready for the next one. It'll prompt you, I'm ready for the next one. I would say about 3 or 4 different emails to really give it enough of what you're looking for. So after you've let it understood your tone of voice and your writing style, you've hyped it up to be the world's best copywriter in the space that you're looking for. You've given it examples of your own emails. This is a point where it's on you to say, okay, now we're going to write a nurture email for this industry, this ICP. And I would also say, ask it at the end of that, is there any other additional information you need from me? Because AI is smart enough to say, you've given me all this information, but let's say you didn't think of your audience or like a specific country that you're sending these emails out to. It's going to ask you those kind of questions. And then I think you'll really be amazed at the quality emails that it's going to generate for you after that. So any questions there? Anyone else have done some similar prompts? This is really, it sounds like a lot, and it kind of is when you're using a free tool and you're not using something like Jasper AI, which I'll talk about in our next slide. But this is really how far you have to go to get the best output, I think.
Yeah, this is awesome. Thank you, Katie. This is really cool. I know we haven't done this. I've done it prompts for newsletters and social and just general emails and stuff, but not at this length. So this is very cool.
Yeah.
Anybody else? I'm grabbing these links for you all as well and putting them in the chat.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anybody? No? Okay, keep going, Katie.
Okay.
They're
Let's
just
go to soak it all in. All right, so if we can go to the next slide and the final slide. So I'm going to talk about tools paid and unpaid, and I'm aware there are a lot more tools in this, but I'm going to talk about the ones that I use the most. And I am also aware that Canva can be unpaid and ChatGPT can be paid, but I want to talk about it in this kind of format as I use it. So first, I think marketers, I forgot who said like you're an AI explorer. That's absolutely correct. Today, I think AI tools are like a shiny new toy, and we're in a sandbox of creativity. You don't have to master them all at once at all, but I think you really are doing yourself a disservice if you're not going out there and figuring out how AI can work for you. Because the more you know, the better prepared you're going to be. So when I think about Jasper AI, I wish I could buy this for myself. It's about $40 for a month for like your own instance of it. But Jasper AI is amazing if you're creating a ton of campaigns and briefs like I am. So you can turn one single brief into a multi-channel campaign in just seconds. So Jasper AI is great because instead of doing all the prompting that I just showed you, you can upload your brand voice guide, content assets like data sheets, and anything else that you think could aid you in a campaign. And then when you're going to create a campaign, you give it kind of like the main details again, like the ICP, and it prompts you everything. It prompts you for everything into its own like pop-up box. So it's going to ask you all the important details that it knows it needs before it can start creating this campaign for you. But then the best, most magical part of all is the next part. The next one is like a huge pop-up that comes up. And I mean, it's giving you check boxes that you can ask for Google text ads, a webinar script, marketing emails, nurture email, a video script, landing page content, blog posts, anything you can think of. You click all those boxes, and in seconds, it's going to give you a full campaign. Everything around what you just asked for. It's awesome. So think about how much time that you're going to save yourself with having that campaign that is a very good rough guide of everything that you're going to need to kick off. I mean, wouldn't like your social team be like super excited if you actually came up with maybe some of the messaging that you wanted for those social posts that you want to go out? So that's like my favorite go-to Jasper. There's also Copy AI and a couple other tools out there, but if you have the time in your week, I would highly recommend when you do to do that 5-day free trial of Jasper AI, because within the 5 days, you can do all of that and just spin up as much campaigns as you possibly can. I personally did that. and I thought it was awesome. So yeah, I can't overtalk Jasper AI enough, and no, they're not paying me. Um, Next is Canva Pro. I honestly personally paid for this one. I've used it so many times when maybe my design team was, too busy and I forgot to put in like a brief or, just a little like social media post or something like that. So, but the best thing about Pro right now is that they have an entire section that is called AI powered. And some of the things that you can find are turning text into images. You can create looping videos that you could then use within your booth. You could design and customize t-shirts for giveaways. You can create music for your videos in the background. You can even have like AI presenters that you feed a script to, and then they're just up at one of your demo stations at your booth. Voiceovers as well for your presentations. And if you have the pro version, the best part is if you can upload your brand colors, have the very specific color numbers in there, your logo, your font, and then anything that you create, you could say in this brand tone, and Canva will create those designs for you using all of that. So I'm sure a lot of you have used Canva. I was never a Adobe girl. I just never got into it, but Canva is like your saving grace if you don't have like those crucial design skills like me. Anybody else singing the praises of Canva?
Oh, me for sure. I found Canva through COVID actually because clients didn't have money to pay for design and all that stuff. So we had to be super nimble. And now our team uses Canva all the time. We can collaborate on projects with people. We haven't used the AI feature a ton yet. Um, but I think this specific meetup will challenge a lot of us to say, okay, we can take this a step further. Also, design, if you think about it, is coming at them with like a million different tickets and priorities cross-functionally across an organization. And so the more you can come to them in a ticket that's like, hey, this is exactly what I want, and not have to spend as much time ideating on it, you could still bring that idea. You can even kind of drop it in a Canva project and share it with them, and then they can go in and fine tune it and make it perfect. We still do work with a ton of designers in conjunction with Canva to create all the projects. Anybody else? Tracy is saying you love Canva. Do you use it for work or personal, or what are you using it for? And you might be driving.
We use it for corporate. All of our assets are templates now, templatized to increase that self-service, which I love. Yeah, and I've used it for some personal stuff as well, but none of the AI functions that you were showing, like lots to still learn.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. One thing that we use it a lot for, because videos cost a lot of money to be created, even just bumper videos to make something look nice for like a webinar or something like that, we go in and use a ton of video. So if you haven't played around with their video functions, I highly recommend you do. It's worth the time. If you need pointers or whatever, just go on the Event Professionals Network, and I'm sure Katie and I would be happy to help you all. All
Yes,
right.
I created a presentation recently where I videoed myself and I had my own like little video of me up in the top corner above like the slide. And I thought that was so cool. And I added in some other like moving picture video pieces, had like just the cut of music during that piece, not going over when I'm speaking. And I thought that was it's kind of like TikTok when you're creating a video in TikTok, but it was so cool. So they're doing a lot for sure over there at Canva. Besides like their cringy rap performance, but if you know, you know. If not, we'll gloss over that.
Well, again,
um,
communication is key and that personalization is key. So a slide has impact, but a slide that you're on the video saying like, hey, this is what I'm doing and showing them all sorts of stuff. Canva has the power to do all sorts of stuff for you. And it's really not that hard to do.
it's not. That's really it's bringing down that barrier to entry that if you never even have like a formal video training, you can just go into Canva and create something that is truly wonderful. Okay, so moving on to unpaid. So let's say you can't afford, Jasper or content, or I should say copy AI. You can I am typically using Meta AI more than ChatGPT. I really love their chat feature. I'm finding better answers, and I'll put the same prompt into both. And it's interesting how I think I'm getting a better response out of Meta AI. So if you haven't used it, I would throw it out there. And I know there's other products as well, but these are the two I use. The other thing about Meta AI that I think has an advantage over ChatGPT is that when they're both free versions, but with Meta AI, the free version gives you the Imagine feature, which is the one I was talking about, where you can create text to images and have like a booth or like just mock up like a cool new piece of swag in there, and it's free. ChatGPT, you have to like kind of pay for that feature. But I think there's still a lot you could do with both of them. It's just really, like I said, using those prompts and giving it all the information, and really being more strategic with it is the best way to use them.
So Miss Marissa has a question. Do you know, does Meta AI save your history or can you train it to do that?
So with Meta, I only use it on my personal laptop because it makes you log into your Facebook account to be able to save the conversations. If I'm using it at work, I will have to retrain it every single time because I'm not logging into my Facebook on my work computer. But at home, I don't mind. But yeah, so you can save, but you have to be logged into your Facebook account.
Hmm.
And you do have to train it. But you can keep that history and keep working off of that one conversation. Or if you're doing something else, you start a new one. And I would probably label them as such. Like this was for the specific industry conversation.
Okay, great. Okay. Any other questions for Katie?
I have a question, and maybe this is more philosophical for the group, but has anyone come up with against anyone or any department that feels that ChatGPT is a little bit cheating?
No, we're hyperspeed. We have such a small marketing team that, I mean, as I would make sure that you have the okay from security to use it. We don't, when I'm working with work items, I don't put my actual company name in there.
Sure.
But no, they don't see it as cheating because, like I said, nothing comes out perfect. Even with the prompts that I just showed you, I would never still use anything that came out and went, oh, this is great. You still
Right.
need
No
that.
copy paste.
Yeah, there is really still no copy paste unless you're being, well, I guess just lazy.
Cheating. I've experienced a little bit of like a pause when I'll say like, oh, well, I wrote it with ChatGPT, and it's almost like there's a pause there. I don't know.
Mm.
Anyone else experience that? Or maybe it's
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So we work with a lot of folks cross-functionally and then a lot of other contractors and vendors. I think on the design side, we get hesitancy because the designers are kind of a little bit scared that it's going to replace some of their work
Mhm.
instead of kind of looking at it as a powerhouse tool to improve design and overall campaigns. So we've gotten a little bit of pushback on that. Um, what I've found is you just have to be really careful when using it that the voice is not lost. So it kind of picks what kind of tone and voice. And so if you go in and you write your voice, because you have to come in with something, right? You can't just come in with nothing, pretty much. You have to come in with something. So doing that legwork up front and making sure your team knows we did the legwork up front. We're not just typing in random stuff and then crossing our fingers that something comes out and then using it. You still have to be super talented to do it, but I think a lot of people haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
So it's the hesitancy of like, is it cheating? Is it that? But if you're doing it well, like Katie is telling you,
Yes.
and in my opinion,
That's work.
yeah, that's work. It's being smart, and creative and maybe explaining it to your team. Like, look, I just attended this webinar. There's all this really cool stuff that we can do, and you be a thought leader on your team. Would be kind of cool because the unknown is still scary right now, especially
Right.
with budgets being cut, layoffs, all sorts of stuff. People are just a little bit more on edge compared to maybe how they were before with these new creative tools that are and ideas coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
Thank you.
empower the people.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else for Katie? Anyone? This has been fantastic, Katie. Really, truly.
Thanks. I know I
I
ran through a lot.
No, it's really, truly great. I think that was your last slide. Yep.
It
Okay.
is, yeah.
I'm gonna stop sharing, and then if people want to turn on your video, you totally can. If you'd like to drop, you can. But Katie and I are gonna stay and answer any questions for anybody. Minute, hopefully.
I have another question.
Yeah.
So using this as like an automation piece, right? Like if then this as the part of like, is that something you have to have the paid version with, or can you do that with the free version? Like how is ChatGPT or like how is that, I guess, gonna automate my work internally? And maybe that's just like something we have to lean into the tools we're already using. Because I'm trying to find ways that it's like, if then this happens, so that all those like checkboxity things, you know? How can we integrate that with like what we're our Asana? Or do we have to wait for Asana to come out with the tool that does that?
Yeah, I've had the same question with Asana. Like it says like, oh, we can automate this for you, but I feel like you already have to build a template of what each all the tasks, let's keep on events, right? Like all the
Mhm.
tasks that you want to have underneath your event campaign every single time. Like I still haven't quite figured that one out myself.
Yeah. Hmm.
So it does do if and or but, Tracy, but it's more, or at least from what I've used it for, it's more like all content related, and for me, not functionality of other tools yet. It'd be cool if the other tools do bring in AI, and I think every day they are. A lot of tools are, but I
Hmm.
don't think they're quite there yet. Um, but maybe we should have another one of these, Katie, in like a couple months to see what else has popped
Yeah,
up.
it's happening so fast. Like another place that I'm really hoping to bring AI in that's really manual is capturing conversations at the booth. Like we're
Mm,
having these great interactions, but getting that information into tangible data and getting it back into the Salesforce so that our sales devs can use that as part of the conversation. Like
yeah.
that's such a manual process.
Yeah.
And is
I
that
have
this?
an app for that. It's a
There's an app for
recommendation.
that? Let's hear it.
Kind of. Hold on one second. One
And then
second.
do we
Stop
run into
her.
like, and then we have to get like
Um,
permissions, right? Like you're being recorded at our
yeah.
booth, and, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So the app is called Voice Notes. I don't know if you've heard of the online tool called Buy Me a Coffee. It's kind of like a tip jar kind of thing. Like a lot of creators use it. So Voice Notes, right now, like you can put it on your phone or your desktop. It's one word. Um, like I can just record like while I'm like standing next to someone and it'll record the whole thing. And then you can like ask it to like summarize the conversation. You can also, I'm gonna pull up my login. You can
I will see it
summarize,
right
you can
now. So
do
it's like,
to-do list.
so it'd be like something
Um,
that's on the laptop, and then at part of your conversation, you
mhm,
could just be like, "Do you mind if I record this?" Bloop.
right, right. Yeah, I would definitely do. I don't know what the, legalities of like what you need to based on your state or whatever, but we did one for like my personal like HOA meeting, right? We're in person. We're not on Zoom. We can't use any of the
Yeah,
automated like Zoom note takers.
song
And
or time
so
or
the
anything.
only problem is it doesn't like when it's transcribing your audio, it doesn't say like speaker one, speaker two, speaker three, like different from that. So you'd have to go through and kind of, but it does summarize, right? So it
Right, which is
can
essentially
pick
what I
up.
want out of the conversations, like
Yeah.
summarize the details.
Mhm.
Awesome. Thank you so
So
Yeah, that's
much.
like
really cool.
summarize, list main points, to-do list, tweet, which is funny that they say tweet because it's not even I don't know if it's still a tweet, even though it's X now. Blog posts and then email. So I've used it for like when I'm driving, right? Like I know that there's something that's in my head that I need to do. And so I just like automate, like I like dictate what I need to do and then it's like drafts an email that I need to send or like a process. Like, oh, I want to do this, this, and this. And then this person needs to do this, and then they send it. And I bought it. It's paid, so you can do free. but it's paid, it's $50 right now, lifetime. So I'm like, yep, worth it. You know?
Wow.
So
That's really cool.
You could just train
Yeah.
your team too, Tracy, to say, hey, turn it on and then say, hey, Lisa Gregory here,
This is
XYZ.
after the event,
Yeah.
like make it so if they're not sitting there typing, they're just anything to make it easier for them. You gotta spoon feed it.
Yeah, say or you could even do a quick conversation wrap. I just met with Tracy at the booth, day 1, 10
Right.
a.m. We talked
Then
about
that
X.
immediately can go like as an email out to, send email to so and so.
Yep, I need to follow up on yada yada, send them my Calendly link or whatever. Yeah, that would be great.
Okay.
I mean, I
And
know
it's
it's
just
not
so you know,
AI,
like
but we would use
uh
paper form as our option for that. So we would upload the list for the sales reps that were at the event already. And in paper form, all you have to do is type in the person's name and it brings a drop down with all those names. Like, so all it was a couple clicks. Like all they had to do was click the name and then they would click whatever our Salesforce statuses were in there. So they would click the Salesforce status that they were associating with that client, and then they would type in any notes. And so it was very simple. And then all we had to do was give that sheet to our operations team, and then they would upload everything for us into Salesforce. But it was easy because sales reps could do it on their phones. And so we got the info, and I had the sheet, right? So then I could look at that information in real time of who they talked to. And then kind of like Lisa said, there was obviously a training that went into place that was like, if you do not do this, right, it has to go in this order or whatever the training is. This is the process is what we would do. And it made things a lot simpler on sales reps when they didn't have to get into a system beyond their clicking on their phone, basically.
Right.
Then they can remember all those conversations because really, let's be real. It's like you give a demo, go, go, go. Now the next person's go, go, go. And it's like, then at the end of the day, here I come, happy little event manager. How'd your
What did
day
you talk about? What'd you
Who did you
say?
talk to? Who are athletes? And they're
It
just
is
looking at me
real
like,
time.
yeah.
Real time is so important because you are going to forget that conversation in the next few minutes. So, and that's really what we wanted to do was then if we could speed it up for the sales reps and then have the sheet ready to go for ops, that's going to speed that piece up. Then it's in the system and we were able as marketers to take action upon those results immediately versus having to like wait a week for the sales rep to get back to us.
Right.
So shortening it down from weeks to a few days, basically, of getting that information back.
Yeah. Yeah. Any way you can get them to remember who they talk to, when they talk to them, whether they talk about. So we always send them the lead list afterwards and then say, go in and let us know all this stuff. But they just have their, all those voice notes with those top 15 prospects from the day. They go in there, do, or they can copy and paste it from their app. Copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, then they're done. Imagine the sales leads for your MQLs or SQLs, and they'll know exactly who to follow up with. It'll save them time. It'll give you better ROI on your events so that, hopefully you can attribute more revenue and pipeline. So yes, good job, everybody. I'm so excited. I cannot wait, honestly, to try this out. So Katie, I think you do need to come back.
Oh, thank you. I would love to do a part 2. We can talk about more of like the rest of the event process and other tools they can use and just other ideas as well.
Yeah.
I also dropped a whole list that was also from Superhuman AI where it gives like the top 100 tools and like what you could use them for. So cruise around and just, knowledge is power.
Yeah, that's great. And then Miss Kelsey on our team is taking notes, y'all. So she's grabbing all these links and she's taking notes on everything. So we will take this recording, edited it, we'll put it on YouTube as well so anyone can watch it. And then we'll also share the notes and share the video as soon as it's ready for y'all to take a look. Share it with your teams. Knowledge is power, and that's what we're here for. So thank you so much for coming. Thank you, Katie, our special guest. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Good to see everybody.
Thank you.
Talk to you soon. Bye.
bye.